Turning point. Just hearing these two words is enough to traumatize Mushoku Tensei fans. And after seeing the title card for this week's episode, I was preparing myself for a traumatizing experience. But Turning Point 3 completely took me by surprise, and in a way I was not expecting at all. Despite being very low-key compared to the previous two Turning Points, this is easily one of the most interesting episodes in the entire series. Both of the previous Turning Points were things that Rudy basically had no control over. There was nothing he could have done during the Mana disaster, and he was just as helpless during his encounter with Orsted. And that's why it's really interesting that this third Turning Point boils down to what option is Rudy gonna choose when he's put in a difficult situation. Will he leave his pregnant wife to go save his mother, or will he choose to stay at the university and abandon his parents? No matter which option he chooses, he's gonna end up regretting it. There's absolutely no right or wrong choice in this situation, and for the first time in his entire life, Rudy is choosing to go against the man god's advice to stay at the university despite being warned. I have a really bad feeling about this next arc. From the very start of the episode, you can feel that things are a bit too happy, especially for an episode titled Turning Point 3. His relationship with Norn is going great, and they're both working on a book about Ruijerd and the life of Spurs. His relationship with Aisha is also going great, with them going on a shopping trip together and Rudeus finally giving a salary to his maid. This man Rudy was really doing a speedrun on getting cancelled, this time with unpaid child labor. We also have Nanahoshi and Cliff's research progressing very smoothly, and it really feels like we're slowly tying up all the loose ends and reaching the end of this university arc. And the little montage of Rudy enjoying his everyday life without any issues was like the most blatant red flag I've seen in a while. Like, I almost burst out laughing because of just how wholesome everything was. And then they hit me with one of the most insane curveballs, and that is Sylphie announcing her pregnancy. I'll be honest, I have seen the opening for this season, and the trailer blatantly spoiled the letter asking for help. I was completely ready for the letter to arrive after the montage was over and turn everything upside down. But instead, we ended up with one of the most wholesome moments in the entire series. It honestly doesn't even feel real that Rudeus is actually about to have a child soon. The opening already spoiled me that she was about to be pregnant, but I was expecting it to be somewhere around the end of the season, and especially not this early on. And because we had such a wholesome moment, of course the next scene had to be the letter. And of course the episode literally aired on Mother's Day. They definitely knew what they were doing. So, it turns out that Paul and his party are unable to rescue Zenith and they need help immediately. And it literally couldn't be a worse time for Rudy. We also have the return of Man God, and it's been a long while since we last saw him. And he still says that Rudy will regret it if he goes to Begaret. And of course he's not going to talk about what exactly is Rudy going to regret. All this time I've thought of the Man God as this manipulator that's carefully guiding Rudy to do something he wants, so it's really interesting that the Man God wasn't more direct in telling him to stay at the university. He obviously advised him to stay clear of Begaret, but it seems like even if Rudy goes there, it's not gonna ruin what his plans for Rudy are. Or is it because he can't control Rudy's life in a more direct way? Either way, the Man God is getting really interesting as a character. Then we have Zanoba giving Rudy some solid advice and telling him how it is. Even if he isn't there for Sylphie, the child will still be born. But if he doesn't go to Begaret, he might end up losing both of his parents. Also, it was really nice to see just how much Zanoba cares for Julie at this point. Alina Lee saying that she's gonna break up with Cliff was honestly pretty damn sad, but it also shows just how much she cares about Paul, despite shit talking about him constantly. Really wondering if her relationship with Cliff is officially over at this point, and what is Cliff going to feel about this. And the final moment of the episode was honestly really sad, seeing Norn trying to leave all alone with a giant backpack. And seeing this finally gives Rudeus the push to choose his parents instead of staying at the university. The hardest choice he's ever made in both of his lives, and as Man God said, he can't dodge regrets no matter what he does. Making difficult choices, especially ones that have massive consequences, are a huge part of growing up, and re-experiencing life in this new world, he's gonna have to make these difficult choices and take responsibility for them, something he never had to do in his previous life. And if he wants to live life seriously like he wanted to, then this is definitely a massive turning point in his entire life. And that is pretty much all I have to say for this week's episode of Mushoku Tensei. Easily one of the most interesting episodes in the entire series. But even though I love everything that happens in it, the episode did feel a bit rushed compared to the usual. I don't know if it was actually rushed or not, but it was something that I did notice while watching the episode. With all that being said though, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more Mushoku Tensei and just anime content in general.